Here's this. Okay, we're starting the stream. Why don't you have it?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Let me get my drink. I don't know. I was waiting for you to get up. I don't know why. Lost my damn mind.
I get the.
Hey, Bode, I do have some good background in this game. And then we'll just, I'm just going to be honest and say, listen, I got as far as I could. I played this game a couple times this week. This is a hard game.
Oh, that's great. So our chat has a server error.
Is that normal?
Nope.
Oh.
All right, it's back. Pop out. Okay, I'm going to turn on this other light.
Oof! Did you like our broadcast from inside the Game and Watch?
I loved it.
I gave that about 1 minute's thought. I was up against it this week. Of course, seems like I'm always up against it, but I was up against it time-wise. I tried to use that buffer, and it does not play well with communities. And I could not get it to work with communities in Google+. It works in individual rooms, but I couldn't get it to work in communities. Listen, we're going to bite the bullet and just start feeding this whatever this new gimmick is you've got lined up. You know what I'm saying?
Why? I mean, why do we need to stop using Google Plus before?
We don't need to stop using Google Plus, but I should get used to it. You know, plus we'll have to start migrating people over to it eventually. You know. It's probably better too. I guess it's probably a better setup. Okay. You guys are so good at that stuff. By the way, this is off the subject. The football season comes down to this game. Now, here's the way it. I don't know if you've paid attention.
Yeah, I almost forgot to submit my lineup this past week. So,
so I have once again reclaimed first place.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you. Now, so you're playing Washington this week,
right? Tortured Fumblers.
The other guy in our division. We're all tied. Same record.
Look at that. I'm dominating him.
So here's the way it's going to work. If I win, I'm in. You guys are out. If I lose, then the winner of the game between you and Washington is in.
Wow.
Okay,
doesn't come any closer than that.
That's it. Now, here's the problem. So I control my own destiny. The problem is I'm playing the #1 team in the league. I'm playing Dale's team, the Scrubs. The highest scoring, baddest dudes ever.
Yeah, those guys are awesome.
All right, and so now Ezekiel had a good game last night, so I'm off to a good start. But I have to score every point. Last week I scored over 200 points. I had a good week. He had the best week again, 230-some or 50-some points.
It's insane.
His quarterback for the Chiefs, that guy's having
Mahomes.
He's out the door.
Yeah,
this guy.
Yeah.
So all I can hope for is that someone puts the kibosh on him, or he's a congenital heart defect floors him. Something happens. But so it looks like the winner of you, and by the way, keep in mind that you beat me by point.
Oh, yeah. It was the closest fantasy game of all time.
Which is brutal. That's hard for me to swallow.
Especially because my team's so bad.
Although I beat a guy one time by 0.1 points. So
I freely admit that my team is terrible.
You're not bad. Otherwise, you wouldn't be possibly going to the playoffs to represent our league. It's just our division's mean.
Yeah.
You know? So it's going to be a hell of a game. Hell of a weekend. I put my lineup in. I'm ready to go.
Hey, Duncan. How's it going,
man? What up, y'all? Yeah, it's cold over here
freaking
too, brother.
Diggs is questionable too. That's the scary thing because he's my #1 receiver.
Prescott didn't do much for you last night either. He
never does anything.
Who thought that was a defensive struggle? He fumbles too much. He fumbled twice last night.
My quarterbacks, you ready for the team?
Yeah.
Dak, Jameis Winston, Alex Smith.
Man.
Did I draft or did I draft?
You're lucky Dak didn't get mauled. At least you got that going for you. Anyway, it's been an enjoyable fantasy season.
It has been.
A lot of ups and downs. I don't think I've ever seen a division's first place change so many times.
I know.
Week after week.
It's crazy.
It's up and down like a yo-yo.
I wish we could name our division.
Well, probably next year we can if we wanted to.
Hey, Duncan. Hey, Edvin. What do you think about when you think about Kent? What's the first thing that pops into your head?
Kent? Clark Kent. Arthur Kent, the host of the History Channel, is In Search of History. I think it was called. We used to call him Arthur Kent, History's Pimp. That's what it's called. I just made that up one day and it stuck. I know of Kent, the city. I don't know anything about it.
I'm surprised that you didn't go for the obvious.
What's that?
4 Dead in Ohio.
Oh, the Kent State thing?
Right.
Did you see this? This game can't catch a break. A homophobic in-game assault.
Hey, Pixels, how's it going, man?
You know, I know we're not going to talk about Fallout 76. I'm heartbroken about this game. I am legitimately...
It was our one chance.
It was all we had. Live with the Bethesda. They've never screwed up.
Right.
And then here they come bumbling along.
Yep, it's
Let's do a game about West Virginia.
We're making a West Virginia game. It's time to screw it up as much as we can.
And so... And I was like, even, you know, and this is something I was going to talk about in certain this too, but let's mention it here before we start. There's a wave of hatred on YouTube about Fallout.
Oh no, maybe we should make that insert disc too. Because
no, your book is good. That's good, but you know I got to thinking about this, okay? Because when I don't like something, I'll often look it up on YouTube and see, and if other people don't like it, I might watch, see what they have to say, see if we have the same grief. Because people like to hook up and grind on something.
I like to hook up and grind.
And so, everyone has been killing Fallout 76 the whole time. Like this, from the beta to the
Not Pixels. Look at that. Right, he likes it.
Thank you, but it's from the announcement of it all the way up to the beta, all the way to the game. It's nonstop. And these guys, I heard a guy, and he put this in perspective. He goes, you know, I didn't set out today to do a video on how much Fallout 76 stinks. He goes, but I found this other story that I thought I could bundle together with this one story to make a video. And he said, plus my heater went out in the house. And then he kept going. What does that mean? You know what it means? He needs money for a new heater. He's got 600,000 views at least for every Fallout video he's done. Mm-hmm. So these things are literally printing money with these things, okay?
Right.
Because people are watching them. And so one thing I've noticed is like the internet, the pundits, the talking heads are like piranhas. Mm-hmm. If anything goes south, here they come.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. Another one. The Doctor Who chick, okay? Her reign.
Are you referring to the lady doctor or a female commentator?
The lady doctor. Okay. The lady doctor. And I don't remember her name. But I want to watch one episode. I fell asleep. And that's not an indictment of the show. That's what happened. But everyone hates her. Okay, by everyone I mean all the talking heads. Not everyone really hates her, but a big chunk of people don't like her. And because it's a social justice thing or some kind of environment, it's like, oh, they just don't like her. They got a bunch of reasons.
Environmental reasons?
Just because is she
burning coal?
It's a social justice thing or PC stuff. That's the big gripe. Or that just the stories aren't good. There are a million gripes. It doesn't matter. Irrelevant to the story.
Jodie Whittaker.
That's right. And so, but these pundits they're just killing her. And every day it's a new story. Oh, look, the ratings are down. Oh, here's a rumor that she's going to leave. Oh, here's this, all this. And there's a ton of these people, and they're all just getting massive amounts of hits. And much like Fallout, I noticed that I see a couple, then I see the next day twice that many, and then by the third or fourth day, there's 50 of them.
The internet's an amazing thing, isn't it?
Right. Listen, you go with what works, and you launch, and you latch onto it, and you suck it dry. And I got to thinking, what was the first time that I remember where a bunch of people on YouTube got together to really hate on something?
OJ.
No, OJ. No, I'm serious here. I'm serious. And I started thinking back because I don't think it's always been like this. I think this is.
You think people complaining on the internet has not always been
because you're missing my point here. This has nothing to do with the complaint or even the crime.
Because dogpiling on the internet has also been a thing.
Again, this is irrelevant to my subject. What am I talking about here? I'm talking about people making money. Mm-hmm. Okay, hit farming, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
And so whenever someone sees something happen, they all grind on. And this is the new thing, I think. And by new, I mean the last 2 or 3 years. I got to thinking, like, remember when they had the all-chick Ghostbusters, right? There was a lot of blowback from that. And it was a horrible film. I actually finally got to see the majority of it. I hated it, but irrelevant. Everyone hated it because they were taking this beloved franchise and they were doing this to it and they didn't like it. And so a small amount of people got on. And then by the end, everyone was killing this movie when it came out. The next one I thought about, the new Star Warses, same thing. You know, remember when Star Trek Discovery came out, the TV show, same thing. And it's mass.
I think social media feeds into this, especially Twitter. It's so easy just to spew invective and to tag people that also spew invective. And the YouTube angle on it is you can do that and make money at the same time.
I don't even think, I think the subject matter or even the opinion of the people making it is irrelevant. Because what they're doing is, in this country, you hear a lot about fake news. We've heard that a lot, right? This YouTube phenomenon is the embodiment of it. And it's not, but it's not even real news. But it's people that have financial gain involved in latching on to whatever the current climate is. Whether it's a good climate, a bad climate, whether it's news, doesn't matter. It's a very tricky thing, and it's a very dangerous thing. Now, that much said, there's a buck to be made, all right? So I suggest that me and you, in the future, we start trolling around, all right? And the second we see someone complain about anything, that's when we strike the Amigos anger channel. We go into work. You know, it's all about the hits, baby. So I'd like to go on record that I hate everything that everyone else hates. I need a new heater.
Like and subscribe, please.
But I mean, it's quite a fascinating, I mean, everything, all businesses are like a Me Too sort of a thing. But
Me Too is in Me Too or Me Too?
Me Too is in, you're doing great with that. I want to get some of that
so not the hashtag Me Too.
No. You know, video games have always been like that. Hey, you know, you got a Grand Theft Auto, I've got a Grand Theft Motto, or an auto with an OTTO, or whatever.
Grand Theft Onslow.
Grand Theft.
Is that keeping up appearances angle.
Think about it. Grand Theft Auto, OTTO. You take the evil Auto from Berserk, and you put him in a Grand Theft Auto world, that's a money maker.
You got something
Write that down. Anyway, I'm done. I just thought I'd mention that. It occurred to me today that these people are making money off this idiotic controversy. And the fact that people just like to get mad and scream about stuff, and they want to see somebody else scream about it.
Absolutely. I mean, have you watched cable news before?
No.
Well, you're a better man for it.
I listen to Shane's show, and my favorite part of Shane R. Show was his editorials.
When he raged against something?
He would rage against the ESRB, not the ESRB, the ROM, what was the anti-ROM guys? Can't remember their name, they've been gone for so long. People that would take down ROMs, he would also rage against, like, for example, subscription-based stuff or ads in games. And I'd be like, yeah, me too. That's exactly what I'm talking about, because that was my favorite part of his show.
Right.
Because it feeds on a natural inclination of people to want to get mad together, I think.
Right. Well, people love to rage. And, you know, people are frustrated by many things in their life. They're frustrated by the news. They're frustrated by everything around them. And if they can channel that rage into something that means absolutely nothing, then it's sort of, maybe it's more healthy than, you know, going out and doing something that harms somebody else physically. I don't know.
This revelation, and I'll close with this little, because we don't know what we were doing here. But I get mad at stuff a lot. Like, stuff pisses me off, right? I never knew until I had this revelation, and I'm late to the party, that I could just get online and get mad at something, film it. I don't mean angry video game nerd mad, like that's fake, you know, wacky. I mean just like...
Just really
like,
go out.
It pisses me off, traffic. It really bugs me. You can get online, but see, that's not topical enough.
Right.
You know, so like I saw Nicki Minaj's new video today. You know who that is?
Yeah.
You know, heard of her?
Yeah, she's a entertainer.
She's the least subtle person I've ever seen in the history of the world. Her new video, it's unbelievably lewd. And I mean, I don't have a problem with that, but it's unbelievable. It's so unbelievably lewd that it goes into a universal scale that we've never seen before. That's something I can't get angry about that, but it's topical. So if you could find some angle here, that would be something like that would be something you get in on.
Right, and so if you like make a YouTube thumbnambel with like Nicki Minaj video, has she gone too far?
Yeah, and too lewd,
right.
And then me going like this. And then in the background is a shaking butt.
Yep, shaking butt.
Get busy, Bo.
You know, that is the other job that I have besides being the co-host of the podcast.
You're one of the big.
I'm in every single one of those rap videos.
You're one of the background twerkers.
Yep.
Wow. That'll kill that video dead right there. That gets out.
All right, you ready to start the show?
That's it. It's over. I've expended my energy now. No, I'm not ready. Let me get the phone up.
Okay. Let me make sure I've done everything correctly.
Is Duncan and Cole was the only guys we got in here? Good Lord, we've probably slipped off.
Well, we started late.
No, we didn't. 5:30.
We started closer to 5:45. People just don't.
Does that matter? Those few minutes?
We're already making people listen at like 2:30 in the morning in Europe.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that. Sorry, Europe.
Pixel says ARG presents Shaking Butts.
Yes, it's coming. There wasn't a ton of news that we did not make. I got a couple of things here.
Here's what I suggest.
I got a couple things here.
Well, let me make this suggestion. Can you toss it to me for the YouTube roundup?
Sure. Sounds great to me.
And you can do the news, and you can do the site news, aka like Dreamcatcher, Styles.
Now I haven't checked today, but as far as I know, here's what we've got. We've got Dreamcatcher's Lion King article. We've got a new release of the Ultimate Lemmings collection for CD32, and then pretty much, and then the rest of it's the stuff that we did. There was one more thing. Let me check this out here. I want to talk about. It hasn't been put up yet. Oh yeah, Heroes of Gorluth is now up for pre-order. I want to talk about that too.
I need to get. Oh yeah. I did see that, but I haven't looked at what the game actually is. I did see that.
It's sort of it looks good.
It's like a side scroller, right?
We covered it way back. I mean, when I say covered, I mean we were like, look at that. That's covered. It's a done deal. Dreamcatcher and his puns. Good God. Did you see this? Did we talk about this last week? The Monkey Island Back to the Future
we talked about that last week.
I thought, what a bizarre thing that is, eh? We got anything else to talk about today?
I got some stuff.
All right. I'm ready, man. Let's do it.
Okay.
What are we drinking?
This is a Speyside. It's the last of the summer wine.
Oh, man. Summer's over, brother.
This is the last of the alcohol that has been purchased for us by one Graham Vebke.
Oh, man. We should toast him on the show. That's what we should do. Yeah, we'll do that. I won't drink it. I'll wait.
Okay. I've already drank like half.
Well, I know. It's because you're a raging alcoholic, clearly.
Okay. Let's make sure. Yeah. It's in 3D. Amigos in 3D. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Where's the camera?
Oh, my chicken not raw. I thought you were from Blackpool. My chicken not raw, not from Derby. Huh. All right. Let's see here. Let me make sure I got everything lined up the way I should.
I'm so used to looking at myself when we I'm so used to looking at myself when we film ARG that when I look over here, I keep thinking the camera's here. I keep, hey.
I'll look at myself the whole time if I don't hide.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
Is that what you like to do when I'm not around? Just look at yourself.
I turn on OBS and I just gaze.
Hey everyone, I'm on the TV.
I put on my best Goomer pile.
That's the way we talk. Did you know that? Hey everyone, we're on the TV. Die.
Okay.
What a goof.
All right, here we go.
Acting.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Amigos. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And this week we're going to be talking about Black Crypt.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I used to live there. I don't know if you knew that.
Was that the other name of Bud?
It was down in Huntington. No. It was Black Crypt. I used to hang out there, man.
What's the blackest crypt you've ever been in?
That was probably it, yeah. It was no good. Actually, Chad's old apartment in Huntington, the building has been torn down. We were just talking about it the other night. So that place, it had bugs in it the size of a coffin. It was a massive bug. Wow. Yeah, no good.
Well, before we get into that, we've got a couple big things to talk about. Number one big thing is that by the time you hear this, which is going to be on, I think this episode is going to be released on Monday, December 3rd.
Yeah.
Voting will be open for the Amigos Best of 2018 category. So every year, we look back at the games that we've reviewed over the 2018 calendar year. And we choose the best and the worst of them. And we want you at home to play along too. So I'll have a link in the show notes and a link on all of our social media and Discord where you can go and you can vote for your favorite and least favorite titles of the year. And for our big New Year's Eve show, in addition to our yearly predictions, we'll also unveil the winners of the best of categories.
I'd like to mention that I think the last few years has been a voting issue because games that are awesome have been somehow getting put in the crap category. And I'll use Star Control 2 or Star Control 1 and the Three Stooges as examples of where something devoted to wires got crossed. So vote more better.
Okay. I also want to thank our buddies Laurent Giroux and Gary and Andrea Hucker.
The Hucks.
They both contributed to the Send Amigos to Ireland fundraiser that we're doing. You know, Amiga Ireland is less than 2 months away.
Man.
And it is, and we are halfway to the goal. So thank you so much to everyone that's donated, but especially to Laurent.
It's very kind.
And Gary and Andrea. Thank you so much for that.
And you're going to rep us on the Emerald Isle.
I'm going to rep us so hard. Ireland may never recover. They may send me to Craggy Island after I'm done.
I have a concern about this trip because I can't accompany you on this trip.
You sound like my wife.
I know, and she's not going either.
She's not coming.
And the concern is that you will you will land on the beautiful Emerald Isle, and then you will leave the beautiful Emerald Isle, and in between that time, you will be laid out drunk at the airport. You've got to promise me with a pile of Amigos cards like laying on you. You know, please promise me that this will not end up in a horrible drunken lushy affair.
I promise I will not start drinking until I reach the site of Amiga Ireland. Then all bets are off.
That's all you can ask.
All right, Aaron, it's time. I hear the train a-coming. Get on board, Lil Chilton. It's the gamble train.
Lil Chilton? Good God.
What's it rolling into the station with this week, Aaron?
Well, the gamble train, it's only about 3 cars deep this week, but don't worry. Our website somehow attached 20 more cars to that train. So it was not a huge news week, but with the holidays here, that tends to happen. However, there was some interesting news. So first off, let's talk about the legend, the man himself, the Dream Catcher.
The gangster from Manchester.
He's the gangster from Manchester. You can't make it work, though, can you? I saw a headline for this article, and I turned off the computer and walked away. Entitled, "I thought by now you'd realize there ain't no way to hide your lying eyes." And this is his look at the Lion King, the game. Now, we just talked about Aladdin a while back. This is another Disney property. Now, you know, I've not seen this one either. You know,
you've never seen the Lion King?
I've never seen the Lion King.
Wow. Have you seen other Lion movies?
I have.
Because you made it sound like there was...
I've seen The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I've seen Paper Lions.
Is that the football movie?
It is. It had Alan Alda in it. I've seen... I'm trying to think about anything else I've seen that had Lion in it. I think that may cover it.
Okay.
But I've not seen The Lion King. And so the game looks great. I've never really played the game either. It looks awesome. And of course, you could tell by the name, by the title here that the DK man uses his own wacky brand of comedy as he goes through these games. It looks good though. Now you've played the game or seen the flick, anything?
I've seen the movie. I've played the game. I've not played it on the Amiga.
And what did you think?
It's very competent platformer.
Competent. That's the best you can give it. Eh?
The Lion King, and it's as timely as today's headlines because they are remaking The Lion King 100% CGI.
Why?
Because it's going to make a buttload of money. Do you know what the top grossing musical is almost every year on Broadway?
Is it?
It's The Lion King.
I was going to say Rent.
No, it's not Rent.
What about Cats? Is that one still around?
Cats did much better than Rent did.
How about Rocky Horror Picture Show?
I don't know if that was ever on Broadway. That was more of an off-Broadway
deal. It played at Roxy.
Deal.
It was a Roxy music. So, anyway, if you're into The Lion King, or you're just into the Dreamcatcher, and you should be, go check that out. His stuff's always good. Okay. Hey, listen, it's another week, so you know what that means. It's another release from Amiga J.
Oh, man. They don't stop.
And Amiga J unofficial release. Gray area alert. Remember when I said I'd never say that again? Wrong.
And then you resumed saying it every week thereafter?
This week I promise to never lie. So this is the unofficial CD32 release, the Ultimate Lemmings Collection. Bo, what do we got on here in the Ultimate Lemmings Collection? Do you see a list of what is represented here?
You know, they didn't...
The entire Amiga Lemmings library on one disc contains all six
Can you name all six?
Lemmings
So
releases.
There's Lemmings. There's Lemmings Tribes. There's probably Lemmings
Christmas
2,
Lemmings.
Christmas Lemmings.
Also, if you look here, it also comes with the playable demos, all the PD games, all the music, and all the demos, and a slideshow.
Yeah, so the official list still yet unknown to us, because even when I click on the on the source page,
you don't have to list it when you've gotten them all.
I guess that's true.
That's it. It's got all the Lemmings
Very
games. So if
true.
you're in the Lemmings, this is your baby. And who's not in the Lemmings?
I love Lemmings.
Me too. I think they're great. So one last little item before we get into the swath of the crap that we've put up this week. Just want to touch up on this. Our good and dear friends over at Indie Retro News have made the announcement for these fellows that Heroes of Gorluth, the game that has been in production for quite a while, is now available for pre-order. People making this are an outfit called Amy Works, spelled cool guy style.
WERKZ?
No, WORX.
Oh,
Yeah.
other cool guy style.
Much cooler than what you said. These guys were behind. These guys are the ones making the Tales of Gorluth here, or Heroes of Gorluth. I guess this is the third game in the series. They did Tales of Gorluth and Tales of Gorluth 2.
Wow.
So hey, you got to do Heroes of Gorluth. This thing will be coming to your ECS 68020 2MB Amiga. And you can get that, or you can get it as a box CD32 version, CD-ROM, and eventually you'll be able to get a digital download. So it should be nice. They're asking, I believe that is €19.99, which in American money, what, $1.50?
Yeah, I'm here on the page now. It looks like it's available in both if you want the plain Jane CD32 ROM, looks like they're selling it for $16.80. So maybe they've lowered the price since they gave this store to
maybe that
Indie
doesn't
Retro
come with a
News.
box.
Oh, okay,
something like
that's
that,
true.
that kind of
now
shtick.
they do have the Mega Pack available, which gives you all 3 Gorluth titles and free shipping for only $29.40.
Now, let me ask you a question. Have you ever played any of the World of Gorluth series?
Boy, I'd sure like to.
We might have to hop in on this one.
Yeah.
And throw some dough over there and give the Gorluth games a chance. Hey, new games on the Amiga, it's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Keep them coming. I'm happy. I'm pleased as punch, as they say. So, Boat, I'm going to throw it over to you to cover the stuff that we've done this week. What do you got?
So over the past week,
Boats went bonkers.
There's been a lot of stuff going on. I had some time off 2 weeks ago, and so I spent almost a full day down in Amigos Studios just playing games and having a blast. It was wonderful.
You've been living the dream.
Yeah. And so I discovered that I really like making port comparisons.
Wow. For a second there, I felt like to make pornos. What I thought you were
that's Amigos Studios North.
That's exactly what it's like. I thought I really like to make porn. I was like, comparisons. Oh, thank God.
So I've done several for the Amiga versus SNES versions of SimCity you can check out.
Screw you, SNES.
I've done Amiga versus Mega Drive, Altered Beast. You can check that out.
You did this just to spite me, didn't you?
Yeah.
Damn it.
We also released a new Insert Disc 2 where we talk about just a bunch of nonsense.
What did we talk about?
We talked about the free Xbox 360s deal at GameStop. When that was going on.
Do you know anybody that got in on that gig?
Oh, yeah. In fact, there were some people that commented on our video. Did
you get you one?
I did not get one because I racked my brain trying to think of a reason I could use one, and I could not find
Doorstop, paperweight,
yeah,
expensive CD player.
Even at free, I had to turn it down.
Does it come with the additional HD DVD attachment?
Oh, if only. Then I'd be on board. And finally, we did this is, I guess, I don't know what we call this, just an extra video. We were talking about the PC Classic. This is 30 games that we demand must be on the new PC Classic system. So, Aaron, you came up with this list mostly on your own because you're much more of a DOS gamer than I am. And I must say that you came up with some great suggestions.
Thank you.
I hope that the Mechers of PC Classic take this video to heed.
They don't want to get on my bad side. I'll tell you something else. I got a list sent over by our good friend, the Vebke, Graham Vebke, and he had sent me his list of 30. And there was quite a bit of similarity, but he picked out some that I really liked. and his list was awesome. So if you have a list that you'd like to submit, I'd love to see it. Give them the email, Boat.
The email is john@amigospodcast.com. Let us know. Hit us up.
Yeah, or even if it's not 30, it's like 10 or 5 or your favorite game. I love to hear that stuff, and we'll
and don't be afraid to just leave a comment on the YouTube video too.
Yeah. Fire it up.
That way everyone can see it.
I had a lot of fun looking through the old DOS games. Like I said, I did play a lot of DOS games, but that's what I had. It's not like, what really spurred us on to making that, which is because I felt bad that people were making fun of this little thing. It's ridiculous. Some people grew up playing ColecoVision, and some people grew up playing Nintendo, and it's okay for everyone to look back nostalgically on the games they played. There's no reason to make fun of them.
Right.
I mean, heck, if they had a Fairchild Channel F Mini, hey, it's still fun. It's fun for them. So there's nothing wrong with it.
And there's much, much more on our YouTube channel, including a new pole position hack for the Atari 8-bit, a playthrough of Stunt Car Racer for the new port that just came out for the 8-bit. But Aaron,
How was that? Did you like that?
It's freaking fantastic.
Really? How did it compare with the Amiga version?
It rivals the Amiga version.
Those are heady words.
Yes, they are, and I think that they've gone all out on this. I mean, the speed is there. The graphics, I mean, this game was never a real looker to begin with, which helps it in the realm of the Atari.
I'm guessing they got that extra speed by using the same background and foreground graphics on the track.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not going
to... I'll tell you, aside from that, it looks very similar, doesn't it? I mean, it's running very similar, too.
And all of the screens are there. It's all the stuff that you expect.
It looks very good.
Yeah. So impressed. Definitely check that out if you're a fan of Stunt Car Racer or the Atari 8-bit. Finally... Aaron, why don't you talk about this week's ARG Presents? What did you guys get into this week?
Oh, yes. So this week, we took a step out into the unknown. And this is actually one of the few weeks where Brent had a lot more knowledge about these things. I know we did a show on the Game & Watch, the Nintendo Game & Watch. And we had a lot of fun. This week, since the Game & Watch games are a little simple, we picked 2 games each, total of 4. And just had fun with it. Brent really... knocks out of the park. He picks a couple really unusual titles. I picked a couple more conventional titles, and we just sat down and had a lot of fun with it. We had a real good show. We really enjoyed it. Coming up, the next go around, we're going to be doing games on the beloved Sega 32X.
I can't wait.
And we've picked a couple doozies, I think, and so we'll have a lot of fun with that. And again, I actually have a 32X. I'm going to drag it out and throw it on the desk there. But we're looking forward to it. But if you're into Game & Watch or just want to, see what that stuff looked like, some of that stuff, I mean, even by our standards, that's, you probably didn't ever get to play with a Game & Watch in your early days, did you?
I've never once played with a Game & Watch ever in my life.
Oh, really?
When I was in Japan,
I'm surprised.
I drooled over the Game & Watch selection that they had over at Super Potato, the world's greatest retro gaming store.
In wrestling, Super Potato would mean you
just a mega punch to the face, right? But they were very expensive. Expensive.
I can imagine.
Yeah,
I love your versus videos. They're a lot of fun. I wish there was some way we could compare the Commodore 64 version of Blue Max with the Amiga version, but they didn't make one.
Boy,
I'm never ever going to get over it.
That's a great idea. You might see something like that coming up soon.
Yeah. If they made one,
we'll just have to wait and see.
They need to make one.
We'll have to wait and see. It's kind of like we were talking about Mate Wand for a second.
They don't need that.
I got Mate Wand from the library with James Earl Jones.
Hey,
is that a good film?
I've never seen it.
Really?
No, I've never seen it. Before we continue, let's talk about this fine beverage here.
So this is the last of the summer wine. This is the last of the great whiskey that Graham Vebke sent over to us. It was probably a year ago. He probably sent it over for Christmas last year.
It was great. So this is for you, Graham. There you go. Salud.
Thank you. And with that, Aaron, it's time to dive in, dive down, and dive deep.
All right. Now,
into the Black Crypt.
I'm going to tell you, Boat, so this is one of those games that I've heard about for years, but I just never got around to trying. In full disclosure, this is another one of the games that requires you would need definitely more than a week to get real far in it, a week's worth of time, but we both had a good hard go at it. In fact, that you actually uploaded, which you should mention that you actually uploaded your playthrough, one of your little play attempts at this. And so if you're...
Little play? Can you be any more denigrating?
Poe uploaded his epic, manly performance.
Thank you. Affirmation, baby.
I didn't realize I didn't even agree.
There was nothing effeminate about my Black Crypt playthrough. Let me make that clear.
It's a little itty bitty playthrough. So, now... Black Crypt was released in, actually it was released March 20th of 1992.
Odd that we get an exact date like that.
Yeah, sometimes you get them. Or I remember to write them down. So, and I even got the price for this one. 25 pounds and 99p.
Okay.
Which in American money, that's $1.50. I don't know what it is. Do you know what that is? I don't know. So it's probably about $40.
Yeah.
Right? So, and this came out in 3 discs. And now published by Electronic Arts, but developed by an outfit called Raven. Now, do you recall hearing of Raven in the past, in your past, Boat?
Boy, he was in WCW, wasn't he?
Not that, no.
Oh.
What about me? But no, not him.
Oh, okay.
No, this is Raven, the Raven software. So, now you're not a PC gamer, so maybe, but it's somehow, it's funny how this dovetails with our 30 games we demand. Raven Software is a gaming outfit. They're still around, and this was their first title ever. That was Black Crypt. They've been around since 1990. It was founded by 2 brothers, Brian and Steve Raffle, and guess where they're from?
England?
Wrong.
Oh.
Middleston, Wisconsin.
Wow. Okay.
USA. This was a game made in the USA. Stunningly.
A rare thing for the Amiga.
It was. So that right there got my attention. So these guys, and I love this story. In fact, the story is probably better than the game. The game's good. So the 2 brothers here were they were basically both in the art field. Okay, but also they were both they both played Dungeons and Dragons in a group. You know, the role playing game, the pen and paper game. And they played all the big modules, and they decided they thought they could I guess they wrote a module they liked and decided they thought they could make it into a game.
Okay.
And so they got a hold of some programmers and formed Raven Software, basically. And this was their game. This game was the springboard for their future success. This was the only game that they ever did on the Amiga. There's no other games on the Amiga from Raven Software. And these guys, really the only person I could find that worked on this game that also worked on anything else, there's the guy that did the sound effects, worked on one other game.
Okay.
So that's it. So think about that.
So, but these guys went on to do other stuff for other platforms.
Oh,
right?
yes, absolutely. So they did quite a bit of stuff that you may have heard of. So eventually, they moved on to work on the PC, and some of their early games for the PC include Heretic and Hexen. Have you ever heard of those?
No. Yeah, I've heard of Hexen before.
These are games.
These are like first-person shooters,
that's right.
right?
Well, they're with a magical.
Like first-person hack and slash.
Right.
Deal.
They were also known to their offices back in the day were right down the street from id Software, and they would actually work with those guys.
Oh.
And they actually used the Quake engine for one of their games. And eventually, these guys took over development of the Quake franchise.
Wow!
In 2009,
from humble beginnings.
And so so eventually, some of the games they released in the Wolfenstein series didn't do that well. So they ended up being picked up by Activision. So get this. What do they do now? Oh, they do pretty good. Amongst the things they did, by the way, was Star Wars Jedi Knight 2. All right, they did Star Wars Jedi Academy. And now what they do is they're basically an assistant studio to the Call of Duty franchise.
Holy cow!
So they're actually doing the Call of Duty, like they're basically doing some of the. I'm assuming they're doing some of the day-to-day like programming stuff needed to help out on the Call of Duty games, because there's another main studio that does the bulk of them. But these guys have done a lot of stuff. Now, if you've ever played Quake if you ever played Hexen or Heretic, you will know that it makes perfect sense that they would come from this studio, because effectively, Heretic is a lot like a Doom version of this game. You have magic. I believe you could pick it's one person, but you can You can pick a class, I believe, as I recall, and you go through a dungeon. If you think about the viewpoint you've got in this game, and the natural progression into a Doom-like, it looks sort of similar. It's kind of like that dark, that dark medieval sort of feel to it. Mm-hmm. And Hexen was a very popular game, and so was Heretic back in the day. And they got ported to a bunch of consoles and a bunch of, PC. So these guys went on to have really big careers. And again, they were picked up by Activision eventually, and so they're under the umbrella of those guys. But still, I thought that was kind of interesting that they would go on to do something so amazing. The guys that they got to work on this were actually quite impressive. They used a special graphics routine in this to get the look of it. It was called Extra Half Bright Mode, and what that it allowed for a user-defined palette of 32 colors, and then the mode provided an additional 32 colors because of the way it worked. And again, I'm not a programmer, but so what this allowed them to do is, and again, I say the studio, not the brothers, since I don't think they were actually doing the programming, but they basically let this game have more colors on the screen than you would normally see in an Amiga game like this. And so that gives it a little more detail, and as you go through this game and you see statues or engravings and walls or whatnot, and they look a little tighter than you would normally expect. That's because they're using this special mode. And again, I'm guessing, I don't know how many games use this mode, but it looks good. I mean, so the overall look of the game I thought was pleasing.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and finish up the particulars here. What is this game? This game is in the and there's no secret that this game was modeled off of Dungeon Master, if you've ever played that game, or Dungeon Master 2, or it's very similar to an Eye of the Beholder. You are tasked with going into a dungeon with a party of adventurers, and how would you explain the perspective on this exactly?
It is a first-person perspective.
Right, it's a first-person perspective in one part of the screen, and then the rest of the screen is devoted to like.
Right, so you've got, I'd say maybe 3/8 of the screen is, or no, probably 5/8 of the screen is your actual field of view, and then the rest of the screen is you've got your party members, their statistics, your inventory, your spells, all of that stuff. So the actual viewing area of the world around you is quite small in this title.
Yeah. So the gimmick on this game, the plot, the player is given the task of you basically make. There are no pre-made characters. You make your own character, which is cool. You get to make 4 characters. You get to pick what they look like. Now, it's not like there's a ton of options, but there are options, which is unusual. And then you get to assign points to their statistics.
Yeah, so it's very true to its D&D roots.
It is. I mean, it's obviously they monkeyed around with some D&D-like rules to come up with this, but it's very similar. And so once you do that, you are off on this adventure. Your goal is to defeat the evil Estoroth Paingiver. How about that? A powerful cleric that has been banished to the Black Crypt for committing unspeakable acts.
Probably giving pain, I would.
Well, that wouldn't help. The guilds of the country of Astera believe Estoroth is attempting to unseal his crypt, and they send your 4 heroes in to stop him for good. That's the gimmick behind this. So if you're familiar with Eye of the Beholder or Dungeon Master, you'll be right at home here. This is a game with your patented sort of Amiga inventory system for a game like this. You see stuff on the screen, you can drag it down. There are boxes you can drag for your characters, to put all the stuff in there. The combat's interesting in this, in that once you've got your character armed with whatever you choose, and you actually set the marching order and everything, which I like, as you go to the dungeon, when you see a bad guy, you basically click on your character's face,
right,
and that activates the weapon.
And then you swing your weapon, right?
Right. If you're using one of the mages, a mage or a magic person, well, then you'll open up a scroll or a spell book and cast. It's actually pretty good. There's a lot going on in terms of inventory management. This is the part where I'm not as good as I should be. You could put there. You literally load up your character with armor, shields, arrows, whatnot.
And it's neat the way that they do the equipping too, because you actually see the item in question and you click and you drag it onto your body, or onto a representation of your body.
It is neat with a butt, and the butt is you spend a lot of time jacking around. I mean, I spend that's the unending amount of time moving weapons around. And something this game has, you've got 3 stats. You've got hit points. I believe one is food and water. So this is one of those games where you have to eat and drink. All right, I hate that. It's a pain. And so you've got to keep. And so you'll eventually, if you don't have food or water, you'll start dying, and you start looking for food. And so when you're going, and these dungeons, admittedly, I'll come out and say I only got to the second dungeon, the second level, and they are very tough to get around. Now, does the game feature auto mapping? Yes, it does, with a but. And the but is you have to have, it's a spell. It's very clever, isn't it, Bo, to do it that way. But even with the map, it's not the easiest place to navigate. You can use, in fact, I found this out well into the games that you could use a keyboard to navigate, because I just kept using the mouse to click the little arrows. So that made it particularly loathsome to get through. But you can also use the numpad or whatnot to move around, which that makes it a lot easier. The graphics are solid. The sound is good. I liked it. I mean, what you're going to be looking at often, because I went ahead and looked at watch some of the gameplay in this, is the same tile set over and over and over. And so if you like looking at large blocks or different colored blocks, this is a game for you. Just off the top of your head, when you first start playing, give me your thoughts.
I hate this game.
Wow. Wow. I didn't expect that. Go ahead. Vent.
This game, and it's not this game in particular, it's this style of game, where you see about 3 feet in front of you. You're trapped in this dungeon where all the walls look the same. Unless you have auto mapping or you're making your own map on a piece of graph paper.
That's what I did.
You immediately get lost. This is just not the kind of, I know that people love these games. People love Eye of the Beholder, but to me, this is about the least compelling experience you can have with a video game.
Wow. Well, I'm going to disagree with you. And I'll tell you why. And I can understand your perspective. And this game, and I'm going to give this game some credit and some props. And when I did my research, of course, same thing I always do. I play the game, and then I go looking for research and figure what's going on. Well, this game actually was very cunning. And in the back of the book for this, they actually include the maps.
I did see that. I had a PDF of the instructions.
And so, because I mapped most of it before I realized that there was a spell you could get that would map. And so I mapped a lot of it on graph paper. I had some old graph paper from my D&D days. And I will admit, that is one thing I don't miss about these games, is graphing them. And now sometimes it's fun, but the maps in this are real wacky and convoluted, and they're not cool. They're not pretty, and they're just kind of a big... You would never build something this way.
Right. No one would ever tunnel something that looked like this.
Yeah, and so... But what's really tough is when you're scribbled on your map and then you hear something attacking you, and then you have to throw your stuff down. That I didn't like that. But I mean, that's par for the course on these sort of games.
Sure. And let me tell you something else. This is a computerized representation of a dungeon crawl in a role-playing game. Would you agree with that?
This is literally based on this guy's module for D&D.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I love role-playing, okay? But a key component to role-playing is social interaction between the game master, the characters, and myself. You get none of that in this game. You get no flavor text in the game telling you stuff. You get, I mean, like, you can read what's in the book.
Well, you can read, there are runes and stuff and riddles you can read on the wall.
Okay, yeah, there is some of that stuff, but you don't, your characters don't interact with each other. And I realize that that's par for the course in these games, but to me, if you're going to make, role-playing to me half of the fun of role-playing, no. 90% of the fun of role playing is while you're going through the dungeon and you're beating the baddies is sticking it to the guy that rolled a 1, or rejoicing when you crit or whatever. And you get none of that. You get none of that emotion in this game. It's just, it strikes me as very cold and very sort of, I don't know, sterile in a way.
What games do give you that in video game format?
Well, I don't think that, that's why I don't like this genre. That's why I don't like let's turn a role-playing game, like a traditional role-playing game, into a video game. I don't think that's good. That's not something that I enjoy playing.
Let's turn back the clock for a minute so I can make a point. All right. This game came out in, I think it was 92, okay, when D&D was real hot still. And when you were at home and you had no one to play with, this game was a pleasant alternative to nothing.
I would rather read a fantasy novel.
Well, it's not the same. This game lets you advance characters. They level up. You make decisions on marching orders. You literally make the character. You name the character. So you have an investment in the characters as much as you would in I mean, I can't think of any of these games where it's more in depth. I mean, this is a point in history where it's not like it's not like there are any games where all the characters in your party were interacting or anything. That just wasn't part of the game.
Hired Guns, there was interaction between the characters.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying that's a whole different type of game.
Not really, though. Not really.
This game, this is your straight up, and part of this thing is you've got to understand. I know the sameness of the levels, and I'll give you that. And I mentioned it myself, but this sort of travel in a game was fairly new.
It wasn't, though.
It was quite impressive.
Look at Wizardry. Wizardry came out in like 1982.
But this looks a lot better than Wizardry. This plays better. This plays a lot better than that. This game, I thought the systems were, as much as I complain about the inventory, I thought they did a pretty good job of making it fairly simple to get to use.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
I think clicking on your character to fight was okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, these combats are in real time. It's not like your Final Fantasy or something where you sit back and you've got turn-based.
Right.
How many games back in these days had any sort of mapping feature at all? I thought that was pretty nice.
For a game in this genre, I think that there are a lot of great features that they did to streamline things and to make things easier for the player.
I mean, I wrote down what they had, this little stuff it shipped with. This is on the box, okay? You've got, the half-bright colors, which graphically I think it looks good. Digitized sound effects and music. I think the music's good when you hear it.
When did you hear the music?
The opening screen is awesome.
Okay, because after that, I didn't hear a whole lot.
It says here, intelligent monsters. Each creature will charge, flee, and even ambush your party. That's true.
It is true.
They did ambush me. They did charge me, and they also fled. Auto mapping, 20 levels, right? 50 spells and spell effects. There were a ton. Plus, they had the mundane stuff in there that I like. You've got your dispel and read magics and stuff like that you can use. That made it feel, I mean, it made every member of your party useful. You had your magic user, your cleric. They were healing. And I like that. I like the angle that took. I mean, it's cool to have the spells. So the spells work cool. You can use them right away on the first level. You find stuff you can use them on. So you get your feet wet and the whole spell. You find lots of scrolls and whatnot. So I like that. It only appeared on the Amiga, so this is an Amiga exclusive, which is cool. And you've got, like I said, you've got an underwater level, which was pretty unheard of back in the day for this sort of game. I thought it looked good. I thought it played good.
I think I could get over everything about this game if it wasn't for the perspective. I think to me if this game were a sort of Fargo type, top-down roguelike sort of thing, I would be much more apt to enjoy it. I just can't get over not being able to see more than a couple feet in front of you and constantly feeling like you're turning around lost because every screen looks exactly the same.
This sounds like Micro Machines. It's about the same problem with that. You only see a few feet in front of you. Now, I understand what you mean. It's technical limitations of the era.
Sure. If you want to make a first-person game at this time, this is what you'd have to do.
And I don't think this game has the sound. I will say, when I compare this to like Eye of the Beholder 1, which I'm going to, I think Eye of the Beholder 1 probably looks not quite as nice, but the sound I think is a lot better. I think that's why Eye of the Beholder strong suits. I think party inventory use in this is a lot easier than it is in that. So, I mean, they're very comparable. I know in the second level of this, there was a creature I couldn't kill. Well, I found out you need a special weapon to kill him, which that I didn't know about. But the creatures in this the ones I saw, and then I watched some video to kind of brush up. They look cool. They're interesting.
Sure.
The effects, the visual effects on the screen for like magical barriers and spells and stuff look nice. I can understand. Listen, these games aren't for everyone, and I fall in and out of love with them myself, to be honest with you. But I think, as far as this genre of game goes, that this is an excellent example. It's not reinventing the wheel. It has definitely taken its lead from the original Dungeon Master, which I doubt you've played, but it was a pretty famous game. It's on multiple systems. I like the armor setup. I like the fact that you're making your own characters and stuff. That's all neat. Now, what does that do against you? That prohibits you from any sort of storyline that could be given out even in text form.
Well, whenever I have something like this, whenever I have to create a character at the beginning of the game, I'm always wondering in the back of my mind, well, am I sucking because I didn't put all my stats in the right place? Exactly how does this affect this?
That's something else we should go into. The stats. I believe you have quite a few points to throw around.
Yeah, you've got 20 points, I think.
And I love games that let you tweak your stats because there's a replay value there. And plus, it's fun to have a character that has a flaw, for example.
Sure.
And I do it D&D almost every time I play. I have a guy who's got one real low stat because it gives a little flavor.
Yeah.
One thing I liked about it is since I got to go in and pick my players' look and their name, is it helped me remember what they do because it's not really visually shown at a glance.
Sure.
And so it helped me because I could associate somebody with
I used to do that with role-playing games. I did that with Final Fantasy. I'd name my fighter.
Well, I named my characters D&D characters I had of that class.
Okay.
And that's how I remember.
Did you have any K-bar?
I didn't have no K-bar. Was in Werewolf. So no, we didn't have any K-bar in this. But that helped me. Like I said, it looked good. And as I watched, like I said, I only got to the second level. As I looked at people playing this, and we should mention that the levels have traps, the levels have monsters, the levels have treasure, the levels also have puzzles that you have to solve. And there's also some of the levels will have multiple levels on the level. There are pits, for example, and that makes it interesting. There's also, we should mention that much like in Dungeons & Dragons, you can sleep and you can rememorize spells. And so they took quite a bit of the rule set for Dungeons & Dragons and put it into this game. It's not point for point.
But I think that the people that made this game really had a great respect for Dungeons and Dragons, and they wanted to do everything they could to translate that into video games.
Sure, and another thing I like is the spell book. You have your spells have different levels, which is just the same, and you can flip through the book.
Yeah, I thought that was a neat touch that you actually flip through a real book.
Yeah, I think that cool. I like that. There were some things I didn't quite understand that I never, I just didn't feel like I had. This is one of those games you really have to take some time. And I will say this game has a rep for being a difficult game. And it was.
Yeah, and it's a double whammy for me because I could tell that it was a game you have to put a lot of time into, and it's also like one of my least favorite genres of game to do.
Listen, I've been there too. I mean, when we did Sim Earth, or was it Sim Life?
Sim Life.
I was like, man, this is gonna suck. And I ended up putting a lot more time into it than I thought because I got into it.
Yeah.
But at first, I was like, oh man, this is gonna be a real tough one to dredge through because it's just not my bag.
Yeah.
So I fully understand what you're saying. But this game was enough like other games I've played where it wasn't a huge stretch for me to get into it. Overall, I mean, there are things I like, there are things I don't like. I know this having a spelled auto map is cute, but I'd rather have a proper auto map. What I'd like to have is a map where I could take my mouse and put it over a place I've already been, and it would just take me there.
Yeah, so or you know what I'd like is pressing M on the keyboard and that map popping up just right off the bat.
Yeah, those are things you take for granted now, but at the time, like I said, that was pretty revolutionary. Sure. I could do without the drinking and eating. I've never liked that in these games. I know it's one thing I just don't like it. I mean, I know you need it to survive, but it's just a hassle. I don't like having to keep up with that stuff. I just want to go and kill. I don't want to think. I want basically this. I want this, but I want Gauntlet. You just go around and crush things. And they're like, Elf needs food badly. I just run over some food. I don't have to actually think about it. But overall, I was very impressed with this game. And you can definitely see how this team could go in and do other stuff. I'm sorry you didn't like it because I think there's a lot of good game here. I think I mean, you can't go against your nature, and it's not the kind of game you like. But I actually,
and I have no qualms about the game itself at all. Like, I think for what this is doing, I'd be hard pressed to come up with a different way to do things for the time that this game was made.
Yeah,
for sure.
And the thing is, there are clues in the game. For example, like I didn't know this at the time. Like for example, the guy I couldn't kill. I looked it up, and there's a scroll. It says it sort of tells you what to do, where to go to get what you need. You know, so it's not like they just throw you in there blind. There was some planning. I said these guys were DMs. They wrote this thing, so it was written for someone who knew how to develop a level.
And this is also, this was written in a time when you would get the game, and it would come with the big manual, and you'd pore over that manual. You'd really soak in the lore. So when you dropped yourself in here, you really felt like you were part of the world. And it's just harder to do that when you've got a PDF on a computer screen. I'm
going to give it some other props. It allowed you to install it on the hard drive.
Oh, that's good.
Which is that's always a big help when you can do that. Like I said, it never got another port, but what it did have is I was reading some forums, I was doing research. Apparently, there was a PC demo of this game, a PC version, and a playable, and it worked. I don't know how much of the game was there, but apparently it was a release demo. But from what I could tell, they never finished the full conversion of the game. So things that could have been but aren't. Now there's some sort of software out there that people were talking. I think it's called Grimlock. That I guess you can enter games into it, the older games somehow, and it basically play them in it. I don't know. It's probably some kind of tile set. Make your own games, I think. But anyway, someone has made this game for that format. So if you Google that, you'll probably better find it if you want to play this on the PC or play it in a more modern way. The demo for this that was done was in OpenGL, so they had really converted over, but I guess they just gave up on it. I'm kind of surprised. I don't know, maybe I'm not, because what made this game unique and interesting on the Amiga was the fact that it was unique at the time. But the games like this became a lot more widespread for the time that they were pertinent, for the time that they were ahead of the curve before stuff like Doom came in.
I was going to say, was this one of the final these type of games? These sort of single frame advancing.
No, it was definitely not one of the final ones. I mean, like you said, even before Dungeon Master, I remember playing a game on the Coco, like it was called Dungeons of Dargoth, where it was the same sort of walk a square. So these things. This was not anything new or groundbreaking.
Right. What I mean was this one of the...
there were games that came after this, and like Isle of Beholder had a sequel, for example, when it came after this. But there was a window where those games came and went. Mm-hmm. And then it's funny, I can picture games like this being in production, and then all of a sudden, here comes like Doom, or even like an Ultima Underworld, where you're just like, oh, well, cancel game, we're boned. This is out, and then you're screwed, So, I looked this thing up. This thing actually got more reviews than any game I've ever seen, ever. This thing they reviewed the hell out of this. I should mention, Black Crypt was nominated for Game of the Year in the Arcade Adventure category and won the Super Accolade Award from Amiga Action Magazine. And it's according to this is regarded as one of the top 100 Amiga games of all time. It got a ton of praise. I'll go down the list here. The lemon score on this thing, very lofty, very heady area of 8.39, very high score. Amiga Action gave it a 93. Amiga Format gave it a 78. So they were a little bit off the board. Amiga Computer gave it an 85. Amiga Joker 83. A lot of 70s, 80s, and 90s. So this was sort of all over the map. Really, you look at these scores, and it's kind of surprising. Like, here's another one. The one for Amiga in 92 gave this a 92%, which I think that's a pretty fair score.
Sure.
In 94, the same magazine gave it a 69. So I don't know what happened.
Doom happened. That's what happened.
Listen, you don't drop this. It's a different type of game. Now, I looked this up on eBay, and actually the only copies I found were in the U.S. and Germany. You can get a box copy of this in the United States for $50 or best offer, and in Germany I saw it for $40. So it's out there. It is a beautiful game. It's got good, like I said, I like the sound, I like the visuals. If you play it within the context of the time it was released and understand why it was the way it was, I think you can have fun with it. If it's not your bag, like it's not Boat's bag, you're probably not going to like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I'll go back to it. I've got this. I will say the company has a working version of this, so I got to play it a little bit at work this week, and I played it quite a bit there. And I also put it on the Amiga, and it was it plays well. I had a good time with it. It's a lot of fun. So that's another avenue if you want to play with that. I hadn't installed go through the hard drive setup or anything.
Aaron, the holidays are coming.
Oh yeah.
Have you heard about that? Have you heard about the holidays, the Christmas?
My wallet's heard about them. It's screaming to no.
You know, one great gift idea. If you've got somebody in your life that really loves the Amiga, you might want to give them a T-shirt from the Amigos Retro Gaming Store over at Teespring. Aaron, we got shirts to beat the band. We got an Amiga Workbench 1.3 shirt that will blow your mind. It might not blow your mind.
It's blowing it right now.
We've got a Guru Meditation shirt. If you want to get on board with the Amigos supporter shirt, we've got that in both t-shirt and hoodie form.
Nice.
We've even got the Boing Ball shirt, an exclusive. The Amiga Boing Ball shirt over at Teespring. So you can head on over to teespring.com/stores/Amigos Retro Gaming. That's Amigos-retro-gaming, because I really know how to make a good URL.
Nice.
And you can get yourself or your loved ones a wonderful Amiga tee for this Christmas.
Yeah, they're good quality, man. I got a couple of these bad boys, and they're still rocking. They look good, man.
Yeah. All right, Aaron. Last week, the Patreon Song Challenge. We went a little high class. Last week, the song was it was Rondo by Murray. Rondo by Murray. Now, you might recognize that as the theme from Masterpiece Theater. Did you ever watch any of the old Masterpiece Theaters?
Is that what you were saying?
That's what I was singing. Wow. You got it.
Yeah, I used to watch Masterpiece Theater. What was that fella's name that hosted? Do you remember?
That was Don Cornelius.
No. That would have changed the flavor.
So Ricky DeRocher wrote in and he said he got the correct answer right off the bat, I may add. And he said this was also used in several Amiga games. It was used as the theme for the English Civilization and Civilization. It was used as the opening title for both Winter Games and World Games as background music when you view the world record screen. And so, yeah, thanks for that, Ricky. And Anthony, he's GCSE in music. What do you think about that, Biznatch? Yeah, pretty good, right? So he knows.
He caught me in mid-booze.
He knows what's up, and after several he knew it was Murray, and he went through every Murray tune in the book until he finally landed on Rondo.
Who wouldn't?
But in his defense, he said that Masterpiece Theater never aired in Britain, because that was our excuse to play their shows here.
I see. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. So congratulations to both of you guys. That was not an easy tune to get.
How old are you, by the way? Masterpiece Theater hasn't been on the air for decades.
I am 650 years old. So here we go with the new theme. The new theme? This is the new Amigos theme. If you know the Patreon song for this week, you can send me an email at john@amigospodcast.com, and I will announce you among the winners. So here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Tim Drew, Daniel Williams, Robert Edgerton, Simon Rose. That was just the intro. And okay, here's where the verse starts. Joseph Harrison, Kyle Letter, Rob O'Hara, Howard Nims, Matthew Larimore, Andy Craig, Shanzo, Darren Lomax, Colin 419, Bachmid, Roland Burke, Andrew Monks, Joe the Zombie, John Cook, Dan Ross, Leaf Kellon, Alan Kebab, Chakotay, Levelo, John Marshall, Matthew Perrone, Ricky DeRocha, Creepy Dead Boy, Figgy, CT, The Slow, Norris, Stefford, Sorgart, Mortensen, Edvin Hilland, Blendo 75, Christopher Hasselrad, the Abbott, Chris Foltz, Dreamcatcher, Lauren Giroux, Graham Bebke, Brand Dowdy, Lane Denson, Adam Battersby, O'Brien's Retro and Vintage, Gary Huckasey, Brian Jones, Paul Harrington, Duncan Styles, Alan Kebab, Anthony Jarvis, Tapes from the Crib, Josh Nan, Adam Bradley, Jonas Rouleau, THT, Eric Nelson, Kim, Tommy Humbertstad, Daniel Bingston, Brutal Barracuda, Darren Coles, Jason Woods, Pixels of Dawn, and Kjolbjorn Barman. I saw you looking at your watch. Do you disdain the number of people that financially support this show?
No.
Are you saying that it bores you as I read their names?
Got a mole right there.
I see.
I don't have a watch.
I'll keep that in mind when at our next stakeholder meeting.
Don't have a watch, you see. I thought that was lovely, Boat. Boat, is it? Yeah, Boat's good.
Next week, Aaron, we're going to take a look at an entirely different game, an entirely different genre.
Okay.
We're going to dive deep, but in a different way. We're going to dive deep into the ocean.
All right.
Silent Service 2, Aaron.
Oh, jeez. Silent Service 2. Okay.
Yeah.
I've never played the sequel, I have to say, so.
We're going to give it a go. As always, you can check out the show. We record live every Friday around 5:30-ish, unless we don't. You can join the party over in the YouTube chat, along with Pixels at Dawn, Ricky DeRocher, Edvin Helland, Free Lunch, Yosef Salim, Paul Harrington's over there, Amiga Dude Furia. So Duncan Styles, you can join the party. There's always a lot of action going on in the chat during the show.
Amiga Dude Furia.
Yeah, that's right.
I like that.
And as always, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already, and check out all of the long-form articles over to everythingamiga.com. Guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Until then, adios. All right.
Stay like this.
You can stay like that for the rest of the time.
Remember the end of Police Squad? They'd all just freeze like this and the criminal would run out of the jail.
I've never seen Police Squad.
You ever seen Naked Gun?
I've seen Loaded Weapon.
No. We need to watch those. Yeah, I can't believe you've never seen any of the Naked Gun movies. They're great. They're funny. Eep would love them. They're very visual.
Okay. That's Liam Neeson, right?
You're just pissing me off now. You're trying to piss me off.
What's the guy's name? He just died,
Leslie
right?
Nielsen.
Oh, I mean, it's almost the same thing. All right, I gotta use the bathroom.
Remember the song?
I thought that was the Patreon song I just sang.
Get out. Yes, thank you. Correct. He's not seen Superbad. No, you haven't seen Superbad.
I have seen Superbad.
But you haven't seen Naked Gun. No. What country are you from? What planet are you from?
Just so you know, Paul Harrington already got the answer.
Paul Harrington's got a good ear because I don't know what the hell you were singing. Anyone in here seen Naked Gun? Aside from Edmund. I don't know how well that played overseas. That's why I asked. Yeah, very good. I saw it in the theater. I laughed mightily. I highly recommend it. Ooh. Oh. Yes, it's almost time. It is Airplane, Police Squad, yes. Pixels knows. I'm a big fan of the Zuckers. Who here has seen Kentucky Fried Movie? A little more obscure. Now that's a fine film. The same guys that did Airplane. There you go. Free Lunch is in. Tremendous film. Not seen it. Fistful of Yen. That's all you need. Pack Billy. That's all you need to say. Now wait a minute, guys. Now that was a tremendous film. That was a tremendously funny movie. Don't you remember Henry Gibson's plea for the fund to assist the dead in their everyday lives? A classic bit. I love that. There was a lot of good stuff in that. There were some duds in there too, but it was pretty funny. Top Secret was great. Skeet surfing. That was a great flick. That's another good one. Up here he comes now. Everyone Act Natural. You ever seen Top Secret? Val Kilmer.
I've seen
Skeet surfing.
What was the Charlie Sheen movie that's like that?
No, that is a Hot Shots.
I have seen Hot Shots.
Hot Shots is good. Top Secret's better.
Hot Shots was big when I was in middle school. I remember my friend's mom offered us a chance to see either the Super Mario Brothers movie or Hot Shots Part 2.
Okay.
And we chose Hot Shots Part 2.
You made the right call. And Hot Shots,
so.
I wasn't a huge fan of the second one, but it was still better than that. So, Bo, you're going to go get your book?
Yes.
What would you do without me?
I would not be here right now.
You'd be rolling in money laughing.
Boy, get out. That sounds great.
I am the human anchor. I'm here to chain you down, sir.
Here's a movie I've seen. You love that movie, don't you?
My Girl? God. Get it out. What is that doing there? Look, you got a lot of duds sitting there on the counter.
Nacho Libre? I can't believe you didn't like Nacho Libre.
I do like Father Ted.
There you go.
I love that show.
Bunch of Springsteen concerts?
Yeah. I listened to Springsteen's Christmas song today. Is there a Christmas song even worse than that one? He breaks up to the chorus. He's laughing so hard at that idiot.
Well, I mean, he's laughing because he's laughing all the way to the bank.
Why am I hearing this every year?
Well, do you know, actually, there's a very good article out there somewhere about exactly how much Paul McCartney makes on royalties from simply having a wonderful Christmas time.
It's the worst song.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
It's literally hundreds of thousands of dollars a year just on that one song.
Oh, God. It's so bad, dude. It's so bad. Christmas music, it's too early. But here it comes.
It's not too early when you're a middle school band director because we start that in the middle of October. We got to be ready.
You band directors are the ones that start this mess.
Of course, our concert's also December 11th, so we're bumping everything back. Pac Billy's here.
Yeah. He knew about Fistful of Yen. Enough said. He's in. He's in the club.
He's in.
The cool guy club.
Everybody in the club getting tipsy.
Welcome to the Amigos movie review. Everything Boat likes is crap. Review over.
Or I haven't seen. I haven't
seen. Is there one speck of violence or sex? It's out.
It's out. It's out.
So now, before we start this, that's all we're doing. So what am I going to do? Just sit here and go like this?
Don't worry. Okay. I'll guide you.
Oh, jeez, I'm not worried now. Good God. I never know what these things are about. You just and then that's when you crank it up. The hits start coming.
Aaron, I want to talk to you about this book right here.
That book?
This is the game console. Okay, this is a book that I ordered because I saw a video by Metal Jesus Rocks.
I've seen some of his
one of my favorite YouTube people, and this book is freaking amazing. Now I know you're a big hardware guy. You're not content to stand idly by and play your games solely through emulation, right? You like having the real deal, the real system.
I do have a little bit of both.
Okay.
I like to have a little bit of both.
Now, I'll tell you why I like hardware. Because it's unique. You know, no two, especially the older systems, or even now, no two video game systems look alike. They're all different. And the guy that put this together has the same love for hardware. This is the guy that became famous by taking a bunch of really high quality pictures of consoles for use in Wikipedia articles. He got sick of there being just crap photos of consoles and stuff, and he realized he couldn't use any of the real ones because they were all copyright, and Wikipedia you can't do that. So he's a hobbyist photographer now. I guess he's professional because he made this book. And he's taken pictures of all of these systems, and this is not just the NES, the Genesis, and the Xbox. This is the Epoch cassette vision right here. There's some really, really obscure consoles on that.
The VTech Creative Vision.
Yeah, and these were things.
What is that, Klingon that's written on there?
Yeah, it's crazy. And the thing that's awesome about this book is not only are there pictures of the consoles, but there's also exploded diagrams of consoles and controllers. And so this thing is just so cool because I'm seeing a lot of this stuff for the very first time. And it's so cool to look at like individual motherboards. Like here's the CDTV motherboard right there. And you can see all of the chips and everything.
Pretty handy.
Yeah. And it's not a really text-heavy book, but there is some, explanatory text that gives you a short history of the system. What I think is cool is that it includes the launch price. And that's something that I'm always interested in because how much did that sell for when it first came out? So I was not given this book. I bought this book with my hard-earned dollars.
This is not a review copy.
This is not a review copy. If you want to buy this book and you're in the United States, The best place I could find was this place called Bull Moose, bullmoose.com. I went to Amazon first because that's what you do. Amazon were selling these for like $40.
Yeah.
And I was like, surely I can get this cheaper because the list price is only $24.95. So I just did a search, bullmoose.com. They're a bookstore. I guess they sell CDs and other stuff too. I got this for $15 bills.
They need to work on that name. Is that counting shipperoo?
Yeah, that's including shipping.
What a deal.
Shipping. Yeah.
I got to get me one of them. That's too good to pass up.
Yeah, so definitely, that might have been a lie. I might have paid $3 for shipping. Shipping was not outrageous. But anyway, under $20, this is a very high quality hardback book.
I'm out now.
What's really cool is that even the texture it's got like a layered texture where this part of the NES controller is kind of rough and these are all smooth.
And if you set this down beside an NES, you can use it to play the games.
Absolutely, you just tap right along. So I wanted to ask you, Aaron, do you have a favorite hardware design, console hardware design of all time?
Why you put me on the spot here? It's not like I take these things apart and just like drool over the guts.
No, it doesn't have to be internals. I'm just talking about like if you're going to set something on your shelf as a thing of beauty and a joy forever.
I'm not gonna lie. I love the Vectrix. I hate that's a bad answer, but it is. But I also happen to like the aesthetic of the Jaguar. I think it's nice and curvy. Mm-hmm. I think it looks real. I think it's a fine looking machine. I like the Dreamcast as well. I think it's a very cool. I like the round.
You don't like the boxy. You like the round.
I don't like the boxy. I guess I never really thought about it until right now. I think that because the older, like I can tell you the ones I don't like.
Okay.
The Atari 5200 is the first one that comes to mind. It's a monster.
It is massive.
A monster machine. I don't know what they were thinking. I hate the way it hooks up to the TV too with the power. That's no good. Another one that displeases me greatly is the way you hook up the Coleco Atom. With having to run it through the printer. Yeah, that's the reason I don't have the Atom out, because it's such a monumental hassle to do that. Another one that I think the design for it was, well, if you think about the Amiga, and I'll group these together, the Amiga, the Coco, and the TI-99 4A. They all have that sideways mounting of stuff, right? With the Coco, you've got the cartridge slot. And with the Amiga, you've got the sidecar, and then you on the TI, you've also mounted stuff to the side through the cartridge slot. But what ends up happening is you've got your computer that's like this wide. It just is no good.
Yeah.
And they knew these were going to expand, so I don't know why they went that route. I never liked that. So there's just some engineering like screw ups I don't like. But I think I really like. Like I said, when it comes down, I like a nice curvature. I'll tell you another one. The 3DO I think is a beautiful machine. The way it's not. I like both versions, but I like the Panasonic one is nice with the rounded edges. It's boxy, but it looks like a something you'd put in a stereo console. So I kind of like that one.
I think it was probably designed to be that way.
Sure,
you put it right above your CD player.
What do you like?
I like the older the better. I feel like the kind of design that I'm into peaked in the late 70s. So I'm a huge fan of example like the original Atari 800 and 400 line. I think it looks modern and futuristic in that late 70s sci-fi sort of way. I love the original like computer space.
That is
machine.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Those are beautiful.
I really like the Intellivision, the first Intellivision.
Why?
It's gold.
It's gold, but it's all laid out stupidly.
Again, I'm not talking about this from a usability standpoint. I'm just thinking about it like if I was going to put something up on my wall as a piece of art, what would I?
What I'd like to have is one of these TRS-80 Model 4s, or whatever, the ones that have the keyboard plus the monitor on one big unit. Like the Pets are like that too.
Oh yeah.
Those look futuristic.
Yeah.
You set those down, and now you got something. And they double as a boat anchor. They weigh a ton.
That's right. I'd love to have one of those original Pets. I read a funny thing one time. It said that the cooler a keyboard looks, the less functional it is, because that keyboard looks awesome, but apparently it's nearly unusable.
Yeah, I can understand
the key layout.
But I think those are they look really slick. They look. Eventually that sort of style of computing got phased out due to the fact that they could. you know, had different types of monitors and color and whatnot. But those all-in-one units always look snazzy.
That's part of the appeal of the classic Macs to me, is the fact that they're all-in-one units. It's a shame that after, I guess the last one I can think of was probably those PCXT, ATXT machines, the 286 or 386. They made some all-in-ones of those.
Well, there's the iMacs.
I guess they.
But those look like butt. I don't like those.
Well, they just look like a monitor now.
They just look cheap. They like to play that.
Oh, you're talking about the original iMacs.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, they look. I don't like the way they look. They look like romper room time. And of course, the PC.
Well, it's funny because I thought you might like those because they are that rounded style.
I don't necessarily hate. Well, first of all, the one problem with those is, of course, in my mind, I think to myself, trying to work on those was just a nightmare. Sure. But I don't like that cheap plasticky look. And they literally, as Apple is wanting to do sometimes, they literally formed the basis of what computers look like for the next couple of years, where everyone tried to emulate that idiotic look.
Yeah.
And they had all these stupid plastics and these neon and crap strapped on the sides of these.
It is kind of funny
and stuff.
That Apple for a long time, they were all about the different colors and wild things, and now everything they make is just jet black.
Yeah, that's if you look back when me and Brent at our various ARGs. That's huge. That kind of crap's huge in Japan, and so you've got all those Wonder Swans come to mind. Here's a game machine that was never that successful, but that didn't stop it from putting out like a rainbow of color.
Yeah,
and a Wonder Swan, a color Wonder Swan. If you look at all the different, Nintendo's right in lockstep with that. All the different types of Game Boys and controllers.
It's because they sell, man. People think about the orange GameCube, like all that stuff. Like Sony didn't really ever do that. There was a limited edition red PS2. I don't know if you ever saw it before. It wasn't. I think you had to win a contest or something. But they've never really marketed like alternative colors. Nintendo pretty much has the handle on that as far as I know.
You had the original Xbox, there was like a Mountain Dew flavor, and there's a Halo flavor, and
so there is some.
Now they've got skins and stuff. I guess I'm too. Utilitarian? It's like, to me, this stuff, it just gets the job done.
Well, you say
but
that.
But then again, I do have the Amigos.
Right.
But listen, the Amigos went over that threshold into almost like a living work of art that sits there.
And that's the difference. You can look at something and you can say, well, this is functional. This is what it is. But to me, I like the combination. If I can have something on my desk that I enjoy looking at and it performs a useful function, then it's worth a little bit extra to me. And that's why I was a big Mac fan for a long time, because I like the way that their desktop computers looked. I like sitting it up on my desk and looking at it. But, not everybody feels that way.
Did you ever get to that phase in the PC land where you put like neon lights in your case and a big super honking fan and all the knobs and crap on the front? That was a thing.
That was a thing for a while, and it still is, because with the RGB lighting now, you can have a party in your computer case 24/7 now.
I don't begrudge anybody that, but I've never. It's so expensive, and at the end of the day, for me, like, I'm your classic old goof. Like, my PC didn't have a door. It's literally sitting there. The hard drives are just laying in it because I know I'm going to be in there tinkering around.
Right.
Like they always say, the mechanic is the guy whose car's always broke down. I don't want to work on my own crap. Basically.
Do they say that about mechanics?
They do. I've heard that many times. They're the ones, because they don't want to work on their own stuff. They're not getting paid. And I'm the same way. I don't care how my stuff looks. I'm getting paid to make sure your crap looks good. I'm going to get your cables all lined up and stuff. But I'm not going to put a water cooling system in there or any of this other, cockamamie stuff.
Well, I think a water cooling system is different than RGB lights.
Well, no, it depends. Some of these are glamour. I mean, have you ever seen some of these designs?
Oh, yeah.
They're hundreds of dollars and they look like stuff,
Sure, yeah. I mean, some people, that's just their thing. That's their hobby.
Same with cars.
Yeah.
Like, car gets me from point A to point B, but some people want to have mag wheels and I don't know what they get, spoilers. Stuff like that. Scoops. They got scoops on the front, cow catchers.
Sweet pegs. Oh, wait a minute, that's bikes.
Rumble seats in there. You gotta have those, don't you?
All right, I think this insert disc 2 is over.
That's it.
All
Bye.
Right. People will never see that. I just cut it off at a place where it's funny. All right.
That was funny at some point?
Well, ideally.
I don't see a 200 hitter on that one.
Hey, man, they can't all be winning. I wanted to talk about this book. That's why I really wanted to do it.
Bam. Thank you, Lunch. See what he wrote there?
Pixels, you got to check out the Quicksilver Power Mac G4. That thing is a thing of beauty. I love it.
Those original 8-bit Ataris belong like as a murder weapon.
They are. They're very heavy.
I mean, I've got that 400. It's in the car, and literally my gas mileage just went down. I haven't had it back there.
The shielding on those things was intense.
It had to be because they were under those. FCC was kicking their butt. You know, I was at the who was it? Somebody in Discord posted these pictures of these like luggable computers. Remember they're portable in name. Like I mean, by that I mean they can be moved by device.
You can lug it on a donkey. Yeah.
That's right. They come with their own livestock, and those things weigh a ton. You know, but you kind of love them. And there's ones that have those little tiny screens like this, like built into them.
Yeah.
People were out of their minds trying to get these stuff. I mean, but it was at that point people had to have them, I guess. You know?
Well, I don't know if they had. I don't think any of the luggables sold any. You know, they're all very collectible now.
Someone must have bought them. You know, like I said, I saw at the antique store. It wasn't Dell. Who was one of the old manufacturers? It wasn't Dell. It was one of the other old ones from way back. It might have been a Gateway 2000 or something.
It can't be that way. I mean, both those companies were founded in the late 80s.
This was a name you've heard, and it was a luggable, massive. I took a picture of it. I should look that up.
By the time that
I didn't say it was them. I said it was someone.
But I mean, laptops were a thing.
This is a huge mega machine you'd carry around. I wanted it. Okay. Didn't have a price on it, of course. It's an antique store. A price on nothing.
Was it an HP or an Osborne?
I don't know. I'll find the picture and I will reveal that special information in the next show. I'll go home because it's on my computer. You know, I don't think I've got it on the phone. I guess while we're sitting here, we can look since we're chatting.
Seriously though, guys, this book is great. If you're at all a hardware geek,
plus Boat gets a kickback on every book.
Absolutely.
He's getting paid, yo.
The Emerson Arcadia, I've never heard of that before. You heard of that?
The Emerson, yes, I have heard of that one.
Came out in 1982.
Here it is, Boat. Who is that? Compact.
Okay.
Look at that.
Oh, yeah. That is luggable. You're right.
It's a compact. I wish I could show. Can I show the screen this? I think I can.
Yeah.
Let me turn it this way. Hold on a second, screen. Let me do a little dance here. Do it. There it goes.
Yeah, that is a luggable device.
You see that, guys? That's at my local antique store. By the way, these are antiques.
Yeah.
That's hard to go. That's hard to catch. Get around. This also was at the antique store. So these are antiques now. It's a VIC-20, a C64, and a C6. It's a VIC, a Commodore 64, and a C64C.
Right.
And a 1571, and I like this one, single floppy disk. That's all you need to know. It's as big as the entire computer. I sold a C64C. Did I tell you that?
No.
Yeah.
Was that recently?
No, this is a couple years ago.
I used to have a VIC-20 box.
Really?
I used to have a whole bunch of
yanking my stuff off.
I went through a phase where I wanted to have all these boxes and I filled my game room up with them.
Don't you still have those right there?
Well, these were like console boxes. They were huge. And a lot of times
trying to look cool.
Shape. Yeah, it was before I moved to Korea, and I still had like a tiny room that was my collection room, and I just wanted it to be full of awesome. It really looked lame at the end of the day.
Plus, what happens if somebody said, "Man, a VIC-20, let's fire that thing up." Then you're like, yep. Well, it's just the box.
Right.
Then they look at you like you're an idiot.
That's right. So when I went to Korea, all that stuff went in the dumpster.
When you told me those were empty, what did I look?
Those aren't empty. Those are empty.
Those are empty. And how did I look at you? Like a what?
Wise man.
No, an idiot. I thought what happened to the guts? And you sold them. You sold them all. Get them back. Do you still have the construction books?
Yeah, I've got everything else.
But not the cartridges. That's the cheapest thing to get.
That's right. So if
get on it.
That's exactly why I sold them, because I knew the cartridges would be cheap to buy.
When you're in Ireland, just start loading up. By the way, the dollar is crushing the pound right now. We're in. You picked the perfect time to go. I'm not. It was actually better last week.
Right, but
as long as if the president can muster up another international incident, we'll be laughing. Although then again, the whole Brexit debacle over there, that's what's hosing them.
Right.
I started looking at the Amiga stuff. I was like, wait a minute. If the pound falls a little bit more,
there is one slight problem with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Ireland doesn't use the pound.
Oh, you're right. They use the euro, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, listen. Here's what you do. Much like going from Atlanta to here, I'm sure driving from Ireland to England is an easy
it's
drive.
right across the road, really.
Hop in your car, drive to to England. Mm-hmm. What's the closest place to England from Ireland? It can't be that far. What, an hour?
I don't know. I mean, well, I'm going to be right in the middle of Ireland.
That's okay.
And so it's going to take. It probably takes about an hour and a half to drive from Athlone to like the coast of Ireland.
You know, well, you've never been to Ireland, right?
Never.
What do you know? Is there anybody here in the room that's Irish? Anybody here know anything about Ireland? Or have been to Ireland? Because
I think Edvin is going to Ireland. He's going to be to Amiga Ireland.
You know what my picture of Ireland is? Because I can only use movies.
Mm-hmm. Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
No, I think
Train Spotting.
No, The Commitments.
The Commitment. Oh yeah, that's a good movie.
You know, what was it they said in there? They said, what was it? How was they put it? They said, Ireland is the south of England. Is that the way how was he? At the end of the whole shtick, he says, I'm black and I'm proud. You remember that? You know that thing?
I've seen that movie, but I don't remember that
That's
scene.
a big speech he gives of how Ireland is. I've used the West Virginia version of that. It's like, this is as low as
you end with I'm black and I'm proud?
Well, no. No, but I could have. But maybe it's Motown he's talking about. You know, it's the Motown. But I mean, it's my impression.
Ireland's the Motown of England. That makes sense.
Have you seen? Like, you've never been there, but I've seen all we've seen. Like, in Train Spotting's another one. So all we've
I think Train Spotting's actually England. That was a joke.
No, are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't remember. Mostly what I think of The Commitments, but it looks like this kind of like
Cormac McCarthy. I don't know. He might be Irish.
I think Ireland.
Train Spotting Scotland.
I think you're right. Yeah. I think Ireland is going to be a lot like West Virginia. What do you think about that?
I think it's probably so.
I think it's kind of some parts are fine, some parts are run down. Some people have jobs, some people don't.
That sounds like the rest of the world.
People are chilling, a little bit of illin'. People are kicking back. They probably make their own booze.
Yeah.
Right? And they're everyone there, to a man, Jack, is into the Amiga, just like in West Virginia.
I'm telling you, they're like mirror images of each other. If you listen to West Virginia backwards, it sings When Irish Eyes Are Smiling.
Now, listen, that's what I wouldn't talk about when you were there. That probably doesn't get over.
The leprechauns?
It's like, you know, when you come here, what do people say? Like, hey, where's all the hillbillies? Right? Well, people don't like that, do they? So if you go to Ireland, you're like, hey, where's all the leprechauns? Does everybody here carry shillelagh?
I hear you're not supposed to order Irish car bombs either. They still are a little bit, that's not quite.
Is that a drink?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's a cup of coffee with like a shot dropped in it. I think it's a shot of Jameson dropped in it.
That sounds okay. I'm not into coffee, but yeah, I can see where they'd get upset. People got killed.
Yeah, there's actually means something over there where we just laugh about it.
I mean, I don't laugh about that. That's horrible, Bode.
Well, I mean, you don't normally make a drink named after like mass murder, but.
So you got to bind your P's and Q's over there. Now, you're normally a pretty well-behaved gentleman.
Yeah, I'm only ill-behaved when I'm with you.
But your humor gets a little weird.
Sometimes it does.
They may not pick up on it. On the other hand, it may be the most funny thing they ever heard.
It'll be interesting.
Now, what do you plan on doing? You're going to, what is it, the Irish Amiga, what is the name of this official name?
Amiga Ireland.
Okay, and have you looked at a schedule of this event?
I don't know that there is one. There's one posted yet. I don't know that they've posted like a master schedule. I know that I think all of the events will take place at the hotel where I plan on staying, which is like the Prince of Wales Hotel.
So you've determined which hotel because you were waffling.
Yeah, I was going to stay at I was going to try and maybe stay at an Airbnb, save some cash. But I figured
to be cool, to be hip.
But I figured that everybody that I know is going to be staying at the hotel, so I don't want to be like, man, I got to go walk my 10 miles back to this Airbnb. So
there's always some jerk that does that.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, where's Bill? He's missing the party. Oh, Bill stayed downtown or uptown or whatever.
Exactly.
So who all do you know that's going to be there?
Oh well, there's Paul who's here with us. Paul Harrington, Edvin Helland is going to be with us. Figgy CTZ. Going to be large and in charge there.
Man, you're getting it's the all-star team.
Yep, that's right. And Pixels at Dawn. So I mean,
what about the Dunkster here?
The Dunkster, you going to be there, Duncan?
He says drinking 9 a.m. starts the drinking. That sounds right. There you go.
That sounds great to me.
I wouldn't suggest you have boat drink a lot, y'all.
I'm You're the jerk not staying in the hotel. Oh,
See, I told you there's always one. There's always one. I like how jerk was violently edited. By
so
that.
YouTube decided that jerk was not allowed.
Oh, Dunk, what happened, man? Listen, Dunk. Me and you will get together on chat and just badmouth everyone else.
You know what I'm most looking forward to, aside from all the Amiga stuff, which I really can't wait to see, like Amiga users in their natural habitat, because I've never seen that before.
What about you've seen me?
I don't know. You don't really strike me as an Amiga user.
I'm going to strike you. How about that?
But I really want to go to like a proper Irish pub and have proper Irish pub food, because you know the Irish pub is kind of a thing around here. You know, there are several places that we get, and I want to see like what it's really like. I want to see if it measures up.
You'll probably have a comely Irish lass bringing out a delicious adult beverage and serving you, let's go with meat served in a sheep's gut. What do they call that?
Haggis?
Haggis.
That's Scottish.
Oh, dadgummit. See, this is an American for you. Now, I look like a jerk. This is why I'm not going right here. Because I'd be like, where's my kilt, McGregor? And then it could beat me down.
Man, I'm going to wear a shirt that says, where's my kilt, McGregor?
Conor McGregor's from Ireland, and so I guess McGregor's also in Ireland. I'll think of something. Potatoes. That would get you in trouble there.
Yeah.
But everyone's got their stereotype.
Sure.
We're the kings of that.
We're a living stereotype.
Big, fat, depressed loser state. That's us hillbillies.
That's right.
We clog around. We drive pickup trucks out in the yonder. You know?
Mudding.
We go mudding in the creek. We do all that stuff. It's real. That's true, isn't it?
It is. It's all true.
You know? It's okay.
But, I mean, this is what I'm going to do, though. One thing that I tell myself every time I go on a transatlantic flight or a transpacific flight, I'm going to go to the doctor and I'm going to get some good medicine that will knock me out on the plane. Because I can't sleep on a plane. I just don't have it in me. I've got to get something that when I get on board and the waitress says, would you like something to drink? It's too late because I'm already out and I don't get up for another 8 hours.
You know what I would like to have? You ever watch video or see things from like the 60s and 70s? They got these planes. You're on the plane. It's a transatlantic flight, right? Nowadays, you sit like this.
Right.
You maybe have your screen, and you're like, for like, what, 12 hours?
Forever.
In the old days, you get up and walk to the lounge. There's a couch there. They're smoking.
Yep.
They're having booze.
It's like Soul Plane.
They're dancing.
Yeah.
You know? What happened to that? You know, have you noticed that as technology has advanced in airplanes, the enjoyment, the fun factors went right down to crapper. You can't do nothing anymore on them planes.
That's very true. That's very true.
I mean, I've seen video of these things. There's spiral staircases. They got multiple levels of the plane.
Yeah. You don't get any of that. If you fly first class, you still get that stuff.
You don't get that.
You probably don't
You
get
a slightly larger seat, and you get to sit next to some kind of jerk.
I love you more today than yesterday. You know who sang that? Spiral Staircase. Bam.
Oh, you showed me.
Episode over.
My God. I think you curdled milk with that singing, a little bit there.
Edvin says you need to slim down or get a first class ticket. He wants you out in Ireland.
Listen to me. My weight is not the reason I'm not going. I've got personal obligations to take care of.
Listen, if you told Teresa, listen, I just got to get out of here for a couple days. Nothing against you, but I'm out.
Yeah, that'd work.
Then you just leave.
That'd be great. Sure. I mean, I might as well just stay over there.
Then you stay in Ireland for the rest of your life.
One of those fine folks have to put me up because that'd be the end of me. Are you nuts?
No, it probably wouldn't go over.
I would fly first class though, because obviously.
Well, whenever I look at you, I say there's a gentleman that always flies first class. Have you ever been on a train? Besides Cass Scenic Railroad?
I've never been on Cass Scenic Railroad. I've been on the other one, the Ohio one.
Have you ever been on a non-scenic railroad?
I've been in like a train that was like a passenger train.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah. They're great.
Because I've never been
Air conditioned, good, comfortable seats.
I've never been on like an Amtrak train before.
I've never been on an Amtrak, no. This was an old passenger train, but it was great. It was great, yeah. I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
But like we talked about, I plan on taking a train from here to see Pat. And first thing you do is go in the exact wrong direction for 8 hours. Then you have a layover, which you have to pay for. Then you go straight south for another 20 hours. Then you stop in Dallas and get on the bus that's going to take you the next 7 hours to use. And it ain't worth it.
It's horrible.
And oh, by the way, it costs $14 billion.
Yeah.
You can't take a train anywhere. Ironically, I could take a train from Charleston to the ghost town down there where they ain't trouble at all.
Thurman, the lines are free and clear.
Can you think about that? Thurman has a train station, but Houston don't.
There's something.
What is going on?
Yeah.
That's why it's not like Europe. You thought it was bad mouthing the transit system? No. I want that here, but it ain't gonna happen. No. It ain't never gonna happen.
No.
Nothing's happening.
Nothing.
Why are we still here? Let's move to Europe. Amigos at the Beat the Band. Good night, lunch.
Well, Aaron, you ready to close this thing down?
I thought we already closed it down.
No, I mean just closing down the stream.
Oh, yeah.
Colin just got here. Sorry, Colin.
Where?
Colin 316.
Colin 316 says.
We did this exact same thing last week.
I can't help it.
We just every week.
You remember Colin Quinn?
Yeah, he was on Saturday Night Live, right?
He was, but he also was on that show Remote Control. Right?
Yeah, I was too young for that show.
It's okay.
I was afraid of it when I used to flip by it. It scared me as a child. Because, like, people would be sitting in a chair and then they get, like, flipped back. You don't know what's happening to those people when they flip back.
I assume there was a furnace back there.
Right. Some sort of Willy Wonka
Yeah, but you're not on the show.
It scared me empathetically for those people. It's just like whenever you watch any scary movie. You're not in the movie, but you're still scared.
Did you watch any of those Nickelodeon kids shows, game shows?
Yes.
Did they scare you? Guy could twist a leg in that slime? Or what about that temple one? Did you watch that one?
That was an awesome show.
It was scary, though.
It was a little scary, but I liked it.
You were a timid little kid, weren't you?
I was afraid of many things as a child. Even hearing the theme from Unsolved Mysteries, I would not be able to sleep.
It's funny how many people I've heard say that, and I don't get it. It's a stupid theme.
It's because you were 30 years old when Unsolved Mysteries was on.
If you hear the Twilight Zone theme, do you get freaked out?
No, because it's not frightening. It's because it's a joke, you know. It's like something weird's going on.
What is this?
That's the Twilight Zone fingers.
Are you casting a spell or something?
Twilight Zone fingers.
No, it's not.
It's like jazz hands.
Twilight Zone's theme is sort of jazzy. I'll let you love that stuff.
It didn't scare me. That was your question.
You haven't watched that many Twilight Zones.
No.
To associate the theme with scary things.
Exactly. But with Unsolved Mysteries, it was the combination of the music and the guy's voice, the host's voice, when he's like, and then we never...
That old guy?
Yeah, man.
He wasn't scary at all.
He was very frightening.
Coming up next.
He did not say
Mucinex. Give me some of that Mucinex.
You sound like Paul Harvey.
Coming up next. A man needs preparation H. He's an old guy. He's not scary. He doesn't look scary.
He doesn't sound anything like that, though.
He's an actor, and a bad actor, I might add.
Really?
Yeah, he's not. His delivery stinks. That show was dumb. It had like a budget of like $6. It was horrible. No good. Thumbs down.
Okay, if you had to compare that, what was that show that Spock hosted?
In Search of?
Right. Which one was better show?
In Search of. Well, by far. But In Search of, it is. Now you mention it is very similar.
Right.
In Search of a better host.
Because like that show kind of scared me too. But it wasn't on. Yeah.
Maybe a little bit.
Especially when they talk
Spock,
about like the people with
he's your friend.
Yeah, right. That was the thing that made it okay.
Robert Stack. Robert Stack was in Airplane, I believe. So how scary could he be?
I've never seen Airplane.
Mexican wrestler. I did see that. Who is that? Dazzly?
Mm-hmm.
Did we talk about that?
No.
There was a wrestling match. It was actually in Puerto Rico.
He threw a block on another wrestler.
It was a hardcore match between these. It was a masked gentleman and an older wrestler from Puerto Rico, and it was a hardcore match. And the masked gentleman was standing outside the ring.
Okay.
And this other guy had like a cement block. All right. It wasn't like a cinder block. It was just like a, like
a brick.
Yeah, slightly larger than a brick. Not like a brick you'd have, but like that about yay long. About
sure.
That,
Yeah, like a paver.
He took a run and he went like this, and threw it, and he broke it over the dude's head outside the ring.
And this was not like a gimmick block.
No. So this guy fell like a heap, and last I heard, I haven't heard what happened, Daz. I don't know if you have, but last I heard they were removing a blood clot from his brain.
Oh my gosh.
Now, Puerto Rico is the Wild West of sport. Wrestling, soccer, anything. There's people down there, no offense to the Puerto Ricans, but it's riot-a-mania, running wild. And there's wrestling stories from down there. People throwing battery acid on each other, and they were nasty down there. And they riot in the old days. I don't know about now, but in the old days, there was every wrestling night, there was a riot. That's where Bruiser Brody got stabbed to death down in Puerto Rico.
Bruiser Brody got stabbed to death?
He got killed in the locker room in Puerto Rico by a Puerto Rican wrestler who was never arrested or convicted and still works in wrestling to this day.
Wow.
You know, so it's you know, my buddy Larry used to live down there when he was in the Navy. He worked down there. At night, you didn't stop at stoplights. You just kept on cruising. You don't stop. It's a tough place to be around. At least the parts he was in. I've never been there. I'm not gonna sit here and pass judgment on the whole place because I've seen some wrestling from there. Which is what Larry told me. But yeah, he hit this guy over the head with a cinder block with a block, and it jacked him up.
Now,
hopefully he won't die.
What was the plan when they were planning this match out?
This was unplanned.
He just saw the brick and he's like, "This would probably be a good idea."
Well, when you're doing a hardcore match and you see some plunder, you drop the hammer. That's a
Is plunder a real term that they use in hardcore matches?
Yeah, Dusty Rhodes used to say that all the time. Plunder. They got some plunder.
When did the hardcore match become a thing?
They've always been around. I think there was the original old school famous hardcore match was the what city was it in? I want to say Topeka, but it wasn't. It was the concession stand brawl between, I believe it was the Hollywood Blondes, which one of the guys was actually the Honky Tonk Man.
Was he the Hollywood Blonde?
No, I don't remember who it was. I can't remember the name. There might have been the Blonde Bombers. I can't remember. It was these two blonde guys, and they had a fight at a concession stand. I keep wanting to say it was the Topeka concession stand, but it wasn't Topeka. It was somewhere down south. And then that was sort of what. And then in Memphis, there was a lot of hardcore stuff. Like that's where the first time you saw somebody go through a table and stuff. But a lot of promotions had like brass knucks matches and stuff like that you would consider that. But what really ushered it forth would be ECW, the Paulie Dangerously's promotion that became very popular in like I guess it'd be the mid to late '80s, you know, and through the '90s, and that's where you got like the Sandman and Tommy Dreamer and Shane Douglas and Sabu, all these hardcore guys.
So these were guys that just didn't care if they got eviscerated in the ring?
These were guys, and here's the premise of this. And Paul Heyman ran the promotion, and the premise of the hardcore thing was there's something different, which they were, and they also employed a lot of wrestlers that weren't very good. So what can you use to make them good? Well, they had good personalities, and you can mask their inability to wrestle with the hardcore stuff. Sandman had a
So these guys weren't what you call
example.
good workers.
No. Now, some, like Sabu had his moments. I mean, he was also horrible. Sabu was the nephew of the original Sheik who trained Abdullah the Butcher.
The Iron Sheik?
No, the original Sheik out of Detroit. The original Sheik. Ed Farhat, I believe was his name. And so, but Sabu worked there, and a lot of workers came through there and on their way to back and forth to WCW. This is when the Monday Night Wars were going on. And ECW was sort of in the middle, and they were sort of providing wrestlers to both sides. So the Dudley Boys were there. I mean, all their guys got picked up. Mike Awesome, the Dudleys, Taz, Stevie Richards, all these guys were there, but they all used this. In ECW, there were no rules. You could hit with kendo sticks and chairs. A lot of those guys were addicted to drugs. A lot of them are dead, to be completely honest with you, including Axel Rotten, who I saw many times locally.
So were there guys that could no longer work for WWF or other promotions that ended their careers in ECW?
They would go there, and sometimes they would get a resurgence there. In fact, guys that were not doing well in the main roster of WWF, they might go there, and eventually it came to find out that Vince had a foot in ECW that he was using to get talent out of there. He was giving them money underneath the table, and no one knew about it.
I can't believe something crooked like that could go on.
Well, it's not crooked. It was actually smart. But a lot of good wrestlers went through there, but they were usually just there for a cup of coffee. The Steiners, Arn Anderson, Beautiful Bobby Eaton, Brian Pillman, Stone Cold Steve Austin was there before he went to WWF. He was there from WCW to WWF. He worked on a character there. The Stone Cold character is very similar to the Sandman character that was there. That's where he saw it. Beer drinking, badass type. But eventually, ECW lost their TV deal and they ran out of money. And they made money on pay-per-view, but the pay-per-view people would hold them up. And by the time they got their money, they were ready to fold. It's a long story. And then eventually, the majority of them went to work for Vince. Vince bought the rights to the library. Vince bought all the gimmicks, and they actually had his own WWF version of ECW for a couple years on the Sci-Fi channel, which ended up becoming crap. And then eventually they folded it, and it ended up becoming what NXT is now, that slot. And that effectively ended the hardcore experiment. Now, they still have hardcore matches. They're still. I just got a thing on my phone that showed me a couple of days ago, I was at that no rope barbed wire death match in Charleston. Mm-hmm. They still hold those things. Hardcore's still around. It's still popular in the indie scene. Hell, the Sandman was just in town. He's still working. A lot of those guys that are still alive work. But that's when it was at its most prominent, was in that era there with the ECW. So
is there a line that you would feel uncomfortable as a fan watching in a hardcore match? Like for me, I get a little woozy anytime anybody gets a little color. You know,
well,
obviously you are several fathoms past that, but is there a point where you're like, oh, this is too much?
When we saw, I was hesitant to go see that death match because I'm not into hardcore wrestling at all. But Teresa wanted to see it, and I was like, okay, we'll go down. I've seen some hideous things, and that I can't unsee. I was at King of the Death matches for IWA, and it was ridiculously dangerous and horrible. And the worst thing I ever saw by a country mile was IWA Mid-South, right up here at the South Charleston Rec Center. I saw a match up there that was sickening between Axel and Ian Rotten and these two local guys. And they butchered these guys because this is another thing. There's sort of a rite of passage where you, in the first match, you basically butcher a guy. I mean, and when I mean butcher, I mean they butchered these guys. I mean, it was like something. It was horrible. It was nasty. I remember one of the guys asked one of the people I was with if he could hold. What was he wanting to hold? He needed to hold something because he needed to tape up a cut that was gushing blood, and he needed Tim to hold something for him. I can't remember what it was, but I mean, it was nasty. I mean, I'm talking. They were taking barbed wire and just raking on these guys' backs and in their head and their foreheads. They cut them up, and at the end of the match, they raised their hands and that end said, like, these guys have passed the test. They're full-fledged. I never saw these guys work ever again. There was an incident in ECW where a guy called Mass Transit came in. It was his first night ever. He never wrestled. He lied about being trained. Paul Heyman knew he was just a flunky. He put him in there with a guy named New Jack, which is a particularly violent wrestler he had. And New Jack gigged him and pretty much bled him out, effectively. And it was a big lawsuit over it. It was quite horrible. And the guy never worked again. He was, Paul had to pay up. But I mean, if they didn't respect you, they could hurt you quite badly. And so, yeah, I've seen some matches that I could do without. And that era was bad for wrestling, in my opinion. So there you go.
Colin says he always thought New Jack went out of his way to hurt people.
New Jack is a unique character. He was a bounty hunter. He's been in jail before. He's a real tough dude, tough character. You wouldn't want to screw with. And I've heard him say, it's like, yeah, you might be able to beat me in a fight. He goes, but I'll get you eventually. I'll come to your house. I'll wait outside your door and shoot you, for example, or hit you with a ball bat or whatever. He probably would, So
is he still around?
Oh yeah, he's still around. Yeah, he's an actor. Actually, I see him. He acts occasionally. He's legit, But yeah, it's I don't recommend hardcore wrestling. I don't recommend doing it. If you ever seen the movie The Wrestler, and they do a very good job of showing you what a hardcore match would be when they have the main character take on the Necro Butcher. You've seen that movie, haven't you?
Mm-mm.
It's a great movie. And there's a scene.
Who's the guy in it?
It's
Mickey
Rourke.
Yeah.
He plays a wrestler that's kind of over the hill. But there's a match he has with a guy named Necro Butcher. Now, Necro Butcher's a real guy. He's a West Virginian wrestler. He lives right down the road here. He wrestles barefoot and walks through glass. I've seen this guy get butchered. He's the Necro Butcher, and he gives it back. In the movie, he fights the Necro Butcher in this match. And I remember reading reviews of the movie, and they were like, listen, you could suspend your disbelief with some of this stuff, but this here is just ridiculous. Because the reviewers didn't think this stuff had ever actually happened. Well, they were wrong. It happened all the time. And they were stapling each other, hitting each other with light poles and grinding the light poles into each other and doing all kinds of heinous stuff, barbed wire stuff, but it's legit. That happens all the time. And you see some instances where these guys that are really good wrestlers or have been great wrestlers in the past have lost their spot in the big time, and they're coming down the pike, and they're reduced to going into this garbage stuff to make money, and it's sad.
Yeah, it sounds really sad.
I even saw a match with Ric Flair against Mick Foley, a.k.a. Cactus Jack Mankind. You've heard of him. And they had a hardcore match, and Rick was in his 50s, and Mick was beat all broken down. It was in TNA. It was a heck of a match, but it was sad to see these two guys at this age, at this late date, and they're out there cutting themselves up. It's too much. It's too much. And they have women do it sometimes, and it's too much for me. I mean, I've seen it. I can watch it. I'm not going to throw up, but I wouldn't recommend it. So that's just me. But you love Abdullah, and he was one of the guys at Park and in that sort of style. So.
Yeah, but he's more of a cartoon,
I saw a shoot. They put up a shoot interview with Tiny Liston. You should watch it. Zeus. It's a Zeus shoot interview. It's on YouTube. Look it up.
All right. It's one of the great things about our YouTube channel is I can see what you've been watching, because I get all the recommendations of since you watch this, and it's like, boy, you got the old football games that you've been watching. I've been watching some of those.
I got the idea from you.
Oh, really?
I saw one on the channel.
I don't know what I was looking at.
It popped up, and I was like, oh man, you can watch a full old game on here. So I watched the 1976 Steelers take on the Bengals. It was great.
Yeah.
I was telling Greg how much I enjoyed the game. And the game, really, the players, they're still plenty good. You can tell some differences, but the games are so much quicker.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much more, it's so nonchalant. I was telling Greg, I watched a game where there was some crap on the field, some weight, something falling on the field. And during the play, one of the Bengals players just went over and grabbed him and just took him off the field. No one said a word. No one cared.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one cared what happened. There was a penalty. The ref just because it's a penalty. There's no celebrating hardly. There's no nowadays, if these guys do anything, they're celebrating. They're dancing.
All right, we're going off the rails. We got to end this.
I didn't know we were still recording.
Well, we're not going off. We're not still recording.
Oh,
we're still streaming.
Yeah, the Redskins stink. But how about them Cowboys last night? By the way,
they did well.
Yes,
they did well. Yeah, the Redskins. Mark Sanchez is not going to be able to ride this boat. It's
Nightmare Sanchez.
Yeah. They're going to have to call back Jim Zorn in the maroon and black.
Tell Treyguard who made your sign.
Oh, yeah, our sign. I wish it was real. It'd be great if it was. Yeah, how great would it be if RG3 made a triumphant return to Washington?
That would be a surprise.
And we could get Johnny Manziel to back him up. It would be great.
Man, what a God. Goodbye, everybody.
See you later.
Love, double love.